Hi, I'm Tim, your host for Watches Tonight.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Watch Insider. My name is Brian, and thank you all for logging on.
What is going on, watch guys? It's Thursday, which means you're here to look at some watches.
Patek Philippe. We'll address the blue bloods first before we talk about the red-blooded Rolex last. Okay, that full bracelet 5726-1A leads a long line of interesting and core Patek models being dropped this year. We already know that, it's confirmed. What will take their place? Let's start with the basics. A new manual wind chronograph. This top dog 5170P has been announced as a run-out model destined to end in 2019 when orders are fulfilled. It bowed in 2017 as the ultimate 5170, as well as the first 5170 to be offered in platinum. And with those baguette diamond indices, it was a legitimately special piece. With gradient dial, platinum case, it checks all the boxes. And this is the ultimate expression of a watch that launched way back in 2010 in yellow gold. So it's been on the market for a while, and now the end is near. But the 5170 represents a distinguished line that includes the late great 5070, and if we turn back the clock much further, the highly regarded 1463 water-resistant chrono, which is to say that the manual wind chronograph is a core offering across generations from Patek Philippe, and it's hard to imagine the line being vacated altogether. So, a new model is in order, and it's likely to launch in either yellow or rose gold per Patek convention, because they launch in the traditional golds first. I'm also predicting a colored gold Patek Philippe 5235 regulator. We are going to see a version of this watch in a different metal, or possibly something more intriguing. Let's start with the basics. The regulator has been with us since 2011. Deliveries started in 2013. It had a long gestation. Not easy to make that tech. Only available in one form, this one, since its inception, it's been announced as a run-out model, so we know it's ending. There's too much R&D intensive technology, the hairspring, the escapement, the Oscillomax assortment, all of it together, frankly, to end it with a single model. So I believe Patek's next move is going to take one of two forms. First scenario, Patek takes the easy route and releases a rose gold 5235R in the fashion that we saw first a white gold and then a rose gold Calatrava Pilot travel time. We finally saw a 5524R after the G. That would be simple and intuitive. Second scenario, and here's where things get really interesting. Patek does something wild and stuffs the regulator's caliber 31260 REG into an entirely different kind of watch, like a Calatrava Pilot or a Nautilus. Follow me here. With two versions of the Nautilus annual calendar, including that one right there, being phased out, this confirmed, I'm willing to take a huge leap of faith and suggest that something commensurate to the price, the stature, and the complication of these outgoing annual calendars might be waiting in the wings to supplant them. A loomed Nautilus regulator in stainless steel, full bracelet, 120 meters water resistant, would crash Patek's website and deadlock dealer wait lists until the middle of the next decade. Finally, that's just a theory, guys, but take a look at that experimental caliber 31260 REG from the regulator one more time. Hacking seconds, silicon tech, redesigned bridges, bigger movement architecture, it's broader for a larger display caseback. Patek's three main movements, the 215, the 240, and the 324, are based on architectures that variously date back 30, 40, even 50 years, and it would be appropriate for Patek to use the launch of a major new model or a broad set of product launches as an introductory series for the rollout of its regulator silicon tech across many model families. It's time to spread the wealth. We've witnessed, and this is going to be my coda to the verse, on the Gondolo front, years of atrophy in the Gondolo collection, which today contains only those two men's models down at the bottom right. With the announced discontinuation of all Gondolo 5124 references this year, there will be no more men's Gondolo watches in the collection. And this is a collection that's been around since 1993, harking back to the men's watches of the 1920s and 30s. So this is a core collection. To revive the Gondolos, I think Patek might offer bold design, new technology, and if we want to be provocative, for once launch a new Patek model line using steel or white metals as the initial model. A Gondolo with regulator tech and a steel case would be super, and finally inject some energy into this oft-forgotten model line.
So, should we do the Genta first?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do the Genta because it's absurd and I love it.
So this is a watch that I actually had been hunting for one for myself personally for, quite a long time. I've always been a fan of these Mickey Genta watches. I just think it was such a cool collaboration. Honestly, I wish it's something that was done again now. Like, I think that this is the kind of watch that's relevant now. I think it's just, the bit of pop culture that's included into the watch, the fact that it's a jump hour, just everything about it's like, I think, very cool and on trend right now. I've always been a fan of the Genta jump hours. The only reason I didn't take this one down is just because of it's bimetal, and I have my sights set on an all stainless steel one, and I don't want to, I've been wanting one for a while. I don't want to settle, but otherwise, like, this watch is just, it's awesome. I love it. I mean, it's a little small. It's 34 millimeters in size, so you have to be willing to have a watch that's a little bit undersized, I think, in terms of a modern era piece. But overall, I think it's a conversation starter. I think that it's classy, it's cool, it's relevant. I mean, I can't say enough good things about it.
This, by the way, is a guy's watch. The original fantasy series was inspired by, well, a sultan. And to be perfectly frank, if Gianni Agnelli wore this thing, you'd say it's the most masculine hunk of steel and gold ever assembled. And he wore smaller Patek Philippe's than this. So this is a man's watch, but it's a man who is quietly confident about himself and postmodern in his sensibility. There's a lot going on that dates this watch, and I actually love it. You can see, first of all, it is very much of an 80s, mid-90s mentality, design-wise. The sensibility with the combination of the yellow gold, the Baroque coined case flank, the Gefika-style bolt crown, and of course, Mickey Mouse on a bed of mother of pearl is absolutely sensational. I'll also mention that being ETA powered, it's essentially unbreakable base caliber wise and serviceable forever, whereas Bulgari can service the module because these are made in the same building, or they were made in the same building that later became manufactured Bulgari. And I'll also add that if the Gerald Genta Omega Constellation was classical, the Royal Oak and the Nautilus were modern, this is postmodern. This is beyond modernism. This is something that is across roads of pop culture and luxury, of status and humor. It's the kind of thing that defies description. It is very Robert Venturi in a wrist-born idiom. And that's how I would describe it. Learning from Las Vegas for your wrist.
Next piece is no different. So we'll pull up, I think this is number 2. Now, I don't think I need to tell you what that is. That's the Date Submariner Ceramic current generation. So 116710 LN. What are you going to say? Pretty much the perfect watch except without the date, I would say. But obviously the most popular Rolex that's currently on the market is in this price point is going to be the Submariner. Obviously you have the Daytona and the Sky Dwellers that are, over list, the Pepsis. But the Submariner is the one everybody wants. That's the core watch. That's the one that starts the collection. If you're only going to have one Rolex, it's got to be a Submariner. So that's number 2 most clicked on the website, and I think for good reason. It's probably the most versatile of all the watches, maybe the Speedmaster, but you're not getting any water resistance. So if it's going to be a one-piece collection, it's got to be the Speedmaster, I would say. All right, let's scoop back over to here. Number 1. And I know you guys saw the thumbnails. You have the MB&F horological machine. This is number 2, limited edition, and man, is that thing ugly. I am not a fan of that. I mean, maybe for a belt buckle, but as a timepiece, as an instrument, I like MB&F. I mean, so we don't. I didn't. You know what? I should have grabbed a photo of it. Did you guys see the Basel MB&F announced woman's piece today with the dome? That thing is actually really pretty. I like MB&F as a concept. They're always pushing the boundaries. I talk a lot, or I have talked in the past about material sciences and stuff like that. I think what they bring to the watch space is really cool, but this one just totally missed the mark for me. And I've put it on my wrist, and it doesn't get too much better on the wrist, to be honest. It's got a very, very kind of funky vibe to it, but 59 millimeters, it's a big boy. So yeah, in the comments, if you guys, what do you think? Do you like the MB&F? It's number one in terms of being clicked, but I got to tell you, from the Speedmaster to the MB&F, I think it was only 100 clicks. So from number 5, technically it was, number 5 to number 1, only about 100 click difference. So kind of a small gap, but the MB&F, I could see the clickability of it and wanting to look at it because it is so different. Not necessarily a piece that you check out on. It's a good deal secondary though.